Okay, so the agenda of this lecture is to study indices. This lecture is good if you are preparing for competition. This lecture is also useful for you if you are in 9th or 10th class, and if you want a general introduction to indices with whichever class you are in, this lecture would be pretty useful. My plan is to understand the laws of indices. These are the laws of indices that I'll be covering. And in the subsequent lectures, I'll be covering a lot of problems regarding indices also. So I have jotted down 15, 20, I think more than 20 problems in indices that I'll be covering in the subsequent problems. Okay, let's start. The first law is that a raised to power m into a raised to power n is equal to a raised to power m plus n. I hope you understand that what is a raised to power m. A raised to power m is a is called the base, m or n is called exponent or power or index, and from index we get indices. So this a is the base, so a into a, this is the base. So for example, let us take a very simple example. I have multiplied 2 into 2 into 2. I have multiplied 2 3 times. I can write this as 2 raised to power 3. So 2 will be called the base and 3 would be called the exponent or the power or the index, whatever you prefer. So the first law says that let us say 2 raised to power 3 into 2 raised to power 5 is equal to 2 raised to power 3 plus 5. Let us try to understand what this is saying. The law says m a raised to power n into a raised to power n is equal to a raised to power m plus n. So let this be 3 raised to power 3, this will be 3 raised to power 2. The law says that this should be equal to 3 raised to power 3 plus 2. Let us see if it is right or not. So this is 3 multiplied by 3 times, multiplied by 3 2 times. Obviously, this should be equal to 3 raised to power 5, the same as mentioned here. So the first formula that we are given is a pretty obvious formula. The second formula says that a raised to power m upon a raised to power n is equal to a raised to power m minus n. Again, let us understand this law with the help of an example. Usually in maths, if you take an example, then the things become pretty easy. So let us take 2 raised to power 5 upon 2 raised to power 3. This will be equal to, as per our law, a raised to power m upon a raised to power n is equal to a raised to power m minus n. This is the law. Let us try to understand this. This would be equal to, let us suppose that if I don't know the law, so this will be 2 multiplied by 5 times whole divided by 2 multiplied by 3 times. So if I cancel this, this will be equal to 2 raised to power 2, and as per this law also, this should be equal to 2 raised to power 5 minus 3. So this is 2 raised to power 2. So this and this are okay. So I hope you understand that these two are pretty obvious laws, and if you see, try to understand them with an example, then they become very obvious. Let us see this. A raised to power m whole raised to power n, this should be equal to a raised to power m into n. Again an example. We have already taken 2 and 3, so let us take 5. So 5 square whole raised to power 3. Now as per our law, a raised to power m whole power n is a raised to power m into n. Let us assume that I do not know this. So how will I tackle this? I'll write this as 5 into 5 cube. This would be equal to, this is almost like saying that I'm multiplying this pair of 5 3 times. I hope you get the logic. Now this is equal to 5 raised to power 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6. Now this 5 raised to power 6 is obviously equal to a raised to power 2 into 3, where a is 5. In our case, a is 5. I hope you are getting what I'm trying to tell you. This is equal to 5 raised to power 6. So we have proven that this and this is the same. So the third law is also proven with the help of an example. Okay. Now let us compare this. Let us compare this with this. Let us compare this and this. Now what you need to understand that here it is a raised to power m and a raised to power n. So this is an example like 2 raised to power 3 into 2 raised to power 5. But here it is a raised to power m into b raised to power n. So this would be, example of this would be say 2 raised to power 3 into 5 raised to power 3. I hope you understand that here this and this are A, this and this are M and N. This is A. But in this case, this is A, this is B, and this power is the same. See, this power is the same. The exponent is the same. This power M. So our law says that they should be equal to A raised to power M into B raised to power M. So, okay, this, we are going this side. We are going this side. So our law says that 2 raised to power 3 into 5 raised to power 3 should be equal to 2 into 5 raised to power 3. Now, if you try to understand, let us take an example. So what I'm trying to prove is that A into B whole power m is equal to A raised to power m into B raised to power m. So example that I had taken was, or another fresh example that I can take is 3 raised to power, let us assume 2 into 7 raised to power 2. Is it equal to 3 into 7 whole power 2? Let us check. So if I try to solve this, I will get 3 into 3. This would be equal to 7 into 7. I can write whole of this as 3 into 7 whole power 2. I hope it is obvious. And this is equal to the left hand side. Or if I take this left hand side, if I start with the left hand side, let us start with the left hand side. Let us take this. So this will be equal to 3 into 7 into 3 into 7. I can rearrange this as 3 into 3 into 7 into 7. This will be equal to 3 square into 7 square. So I can prove RHS is equal to LHS, or I can prove LHS is equal to RHS. Both sides it is true. So the law is proven with the help of an example. So this is what we have proved. Again, if you see this case, if you take an example, let us take any random example. Let us say 3 upon 7 whole power 5 should be equal to 3 raised to power of 5 upon 7 raised to power 5. Let us try to understand this formula. Let us try to understand this formula. Okay. So 3 raised to power 7 whole power 5. Is this equal to 3 raised to power 5 upon 7 raised to power 5? I'm trying to prove. So let me take left hand side. Left hand side, what I can do is 3 upon 7 into 3 upon 7 into 3 upon 7 into 3 upon 7 into 3 upon 7. This would be equal to 3 is multiplied 5 times 7 is multiplied 5 times. This whole can be written as 3 raised to power 5 upon 7 raised to power 5. This is the same as the right hand side. So I have proved left hand side is equal to right hand side. So I hope this law is also clear. This law is also clear. A upon B whole power m is equal to A raised to power m upon B raised to power m. See, the fundamental difference between these laws and these laws is that here the bases are the same. The powers are changing. Here the bases are changing, but the powers are the same. Okay. Now this gets confusing to a lot of students. It's a very simple thing that you need to understand, but at times when you are doing questions, this becomes very uh, tricky topic for few people. So a to the root n, how do we understand this? Okay, let us understand again with the help of examples. Usually when we see 5, we understand that this is the square root, so this is written as 5 raised to power half. So what you need to understand is that there is an invisible 2. So, but if it is written 4 here, a small 4 is written here, what it means is 5 raised to power 1 upon 4. So this is the fourth root. So any 5 raised to power n is actually the nth root. Just remember this, that this is the nth root. So this would be equal to 5 raised to power 1 upon n. I hope this is clear. All these things become more clear when you are doing examples, and in the subsequent lectures we will be doing a lot of examples, so don't worry about that. So a raised to power m upon n can be written as a to the power m square root n. So this becomes a bit easy to understand if I break this into two parts. I'll show you how. So for example, I write 5 5 raised to power 2 by 3. Now 5 raised to power 2 by 3 I can write as 5 raised to power 2 into 1 by 3. I hope it is clear. This I can write as 5 square and 1 by 3 is outside. Why can I write this? I can write this because of this law. I can write this because of this law. This. That a raised to power m, n is outside the bracket, but this would be equal to m into n. So I'm using this law to make you understand this. So this I can write as 5 square and 1 by 3 is actually the third root. 1/3. So this, how do I know this? I know this because I have studied this. I have studied this. So I hope this is also clear. So this one is also clear. Yes, there is a condition that a can't be equal to 0. Again, this also becomes confusing at times to few students, and I'll try to make you understand both these things. We'll start with this. This is the easier thing to understand. Once you have understood this, I'll take you through this. Okay. So a raised to power minus n is equal to 1 upon a raised to power n. A raised to power minus n is equal to 1 upon a raised to power n. So with the help of an example, 5 raised to power minus 3 is equal to 1 upon 5 raised to power 3. I think most of us do understand this. People don't have much difficulty in understanding this. But there is a confusion when people are dealing with this. Okay, let us try to understand this part. So 5 raised to power 3 can be written as 1 upon 5 raised to power minus 3. So please understand that when there is a minus 3, the power will make this negative power will make this 5 go to the denominator. It is almost the simplest example that I can take is 2 raised to power minus 1. This minus will take this 2 in the reciprocal. So again, 2 raised to power minus 3 is equal to 1 upon 2 raised to power 3. I hope this is getting clearer. So when the negative power is in the denominator, if the negative power is in the denominator, so what this power will do now is it will take this number to the numerator. It will take it to the numerator. So this will be equal to 5 raised to power 3, which is the same as this. I'm telling you again and again that there are times when indices get really confusing. But the only way out is to solve more and more questions of indices. That is the only way you can understand indices. So this is the universal law, a raised to power 0 is equal to 1. What it means is 100 raised to power 0 is 1. 1 lakh raised to power 0 is 1. It is as simple as that. Okay. Next question. Sorry. Next law or whatever rule or whatever you may like to call it. Let us understand this with an example again. So I have minus 100 and minus 100 raised to power m is a even. So minus 100 raised to power, let us say 4. Now this will be equal to minus 100 into minus 100 into minus 100 into minus 100. So as you can see, this, these 4 negatives will cancel each other. So I'll have a positive 100. I'll have a positive 100. And this will be equal to 100 raised to power 4. A positive 100 raised to power 4. And this is what this rule is saying. That if m is even, you can safely say that minus 100 raised to power 4 is equal to 100 raised to power 4. Let us take the second case and you'll understand this in depth. So minus 100 raised to power n is odd. Let us raise this to the power 5. So again, if we try to multiply, now you'll see that I have minus 100 being multiplied odd number of times. Now if you see what will happen, that the negative, these two negatives will cancel, they'll become positive. These two negative will cancel, they will become positive, but this will remain. So this would be equal to minus 100 into 100 into 100 into 100 into 100, and this will be equal to minus 100 raised to power 5. And this is what is meant by this rule, that if n is odd, then this minus will remain. This should be m. Okay, let me write this as, this is getting confusing. So let me write this as n. This should be n. Okay. So minus a raised to power some power, and that power is odd. If that power is odd, then I'll have minus will remain outside. But if minus a is raised to power some even power, then because minus a would be multiplied by even number of times, all the negatives will cancel each other. Like this case that we have taken. This minus and minus would be plus. This minus and minus would be plus. I hope you have understood. So thanks for your time. In the next part of this series, I'll be solving these questions. Again, solving these questions, I have taken these these questions from one of the textbooks of class 9th. But the lectures would be useful even if you are, say, preparing for any competition and you don't understand indices or you have some confusion in indices. So see you next time. Thanks for watching.